Hello, I am Simona Mainini with Feng Shui for Architecture and Training Center. And today I would like to share with you some insight about the upcoming 2026 year of the fire horse. Before we get to the juicy bits today, though, I also would like to invite you to our extended forecast for 2026, which is going to take place in January, right after New Year. So that's going to be January 10, 2026, on a Saturday morning at 10 o'clock Pacific time. I'm going to leave you here below the link so you can register and get an early registration discount, which is always good these days and age. And without further ado, let's see what this new year has in store for us. So right off the bat, I can tell you that 2026 is going to be significantly different from 2025. Because in 2025, if you have attended our forecast last year, 2025 was a very unique year with a lot of preponderance of yin qi. And this yin qi was not very supportive for the yang aspect because there was too much of them. The yin and yang should always be balanced. So what Yin Qin was doing was making us a little bit distracted, a little bit unfocused. And so the yang part gives us leadership, the ability of making decision in our life. And when we do not have enough of that yang qi, we have too much yin, we might tend to procrastinate. We might tend to not paying a lot of attention to what we are doing. We might end up doing things in the, fast and, kind of getting it done. And so as a result, we might end up making some bad decisions. And so as we are progressing now towards the end of 2025 and the energy of the year that started very strong at the beginning of the year starting to fade a little bit, our yang is starting slowly to come back, and we are starting becoming aware of the things that we haven't done right basically before. So this is a great opportunity to fix that, fix any loose strings. But what will happen with 2026 is that 2026 is gonna give us a big, huge push. 2026 is gonna be the year of the fire horse. The horse is already a fire, young fire element as it is. And so it's also gonna be a double fire, right? Fire stem and fire branch. So it's definitely gonna be very strong. And the horse per se is already the peak of the fire element. So it's gonna be pretty intense here in that sense. Of course, everybody's going to relate slightly different because we all have different, energy imprint from when we're born, different chi. And so some people would be more favored than others, but generally speaking, it's going to be a much more active and dynamic here. Also, and that for what regards the life destiny. There are two different aspects. There is the stem and branch, the astrology that rules more over the life destiny, the luck, the personal luck of a person, we can say. The other aspect is that of your house, the feng shui aspect of your house. So the yearly energy that is going to be in the center of every house in the world is going to be that of the Kant triagram. The triagrams, I always mention the triagram. The triagrams are the same triagrams that are used in the I Ching. So if you want to read more about it, you can probably start with the book of the I Ching. That's going to be a good start because we also will discuss the I Ching for the year, the results of the I Ching or the forecast of the I Ching for the year in our extended forecast. So what pertains feng shui, the buildings are all gonna be receiving the visiting Kant triagram for the year 2026. The Kant triagram relates to the water element. And I know some of you are saying, well, what's happening here? We have all this fire in terms of fire horse, and now we have the water trigram. How are the two going to interact? Is there going to be a lot of steam? Are they going to extinguish each other? Is it going to be clashing? What's going on with that? And the answer is actually quite simple, because in ancient Chinese metaphysics, they use the 5 elements as a common denominator for a variety of different energetic levels. And so one is more, the fire horse is going to affect more people based on their life destiny chart, or their 5 element, the 4 pillar chart. And the Kant triagram is going to affect more the building on a Feng Shui level. So the two work on separate plane. The effects of one are still intermingling with the effects of the other. So both of them are going to have an influence in our life, but they're not necessarily clashing, even though the fire and the water appear to be clashing with each other. We don't have to worry on that sense. So the Kant triagram, what is the Kant triagram going to be doing in our buildings? So the Kant triagram, again, is very different from the Kuhn triagram that we had last year. And I know the names are very similar, but the effects are significantly different. First of all, the Kant triagram is a yang triagram, while last year the Kuhn was a yin triagram. So right there, big difference. The Kant triagram also is the water element. And the water is actually one of the strongest, if not the strongest, element among the 5, because even though it's very underestimated and we think that the water just flows, right? Maybe goes underground, is not even visible. But actually the element, the water element, has quite a bit of yang strength and the ability of making their way through every difficulty. And we're really going to need it in 2026, because one of the effects of a predominance of yin energy that we're having in 2025 is also that of not seeing clearly what has been happening in the past year. And in 2026, suddenly our awareness is going to wake up, back up, and we're going to see more of what is happening. Maybe that could be something as simple as repair that we need to do around the house. Then maybe we put them off, or we didn't pay too much attention, and over the months they became a bigger thing. So now we have to take care of that. Or this could also be on a health level. Some of us have been really sloppy in 2025, not being paying attention to our health. So 2026 will be the year that we really need to go back and do a full checkup for that. Because one of the collateral damages that we usually have from the Kuhn triagram of 2025 is that of not paying attention, and so things tend to become more serious than they would have been if we had paid attention and noticed them earlier. So there will be a variety of things that we are going to become aware of, and this would be a great opportunity to fix them, because the Kant triagram is actually really good at fixing things. Is very mild, is not an aggressive triagram, but is very good at taking care of things and is very detail oriented. So 2026 is going to give us the opportunity of really straightening up our life. And I have to tell you, I've seen this around from our students, from my clients, and also friends and family. There is this desire of taking care of things. All of a sudden people are feeling like, oh, after we were locked up for such a long time, I haven't done this, or I haven't done that, and I need to take care of this. I have to take care of that. A lot of people are, cleaning up their closets, straightening up their closets, giving things away, downsizing. A lot of people are already starting to move in that direction. So if you feel that way, you're not alone. I think it's really part of the big trend that is happening on the planet with these changes of energy. One of the things we need to remember is that in 2024, we enter construction period number 9. And when we call construction period number 9, we usually are referring to the Feng Shui calendar again, which has to do with the construction of buildings. And so we are at the beginning of this new cycle, and it's a cycle that lasts 20 years. So, you know, the transition doesn't happen overnight. It's been starting, the energy started to move from the previous cycle to the new one already, you know, from 2020. I think part of our experience worldwide, common experience of 2020 and the following years was somewhat related to this change. And it's been settling in now since last year when the official shift occurred. It's been settling in, and this is going to be the 3rd year, and it's the year that this energy will be fully permeating, you know, the entire planet. It starts, you know, from the ether. It starts from the energy of the heavens chi, or the cosmic chi. And so it starts, you know, permeating the air and then interacts with the earth, and finally the two blend together. And this has been the 3rd year. It's the year that is finally going to consolidate. It's not going to be, you know, the next year is not going to, the following year is not going to be a transition here, but 2026 is the last year of where this energy is settling in. So it's going to permeate in the grounds as well, and it's going to affect the yin houses as well. The manifestations of the yin houses are going to become more visible. So if there are things like locks or other problems, those are going to become more visible. They're going to manifest more. Same with the buildings. Even though buildings, we notice that on a yearly basis, that doesn't happen in the same way for yin houses. So having said that, looks like next year is going to be a much more dynamic year. In our extended forecast, we are going to examine a little bit of what this 2026 is in store for the individual signs. I can tell you right now that the fire element, I mean the horses element, I'm always thinking of the actual 5 elements. The horses and the rats are going to be the one that are probably going to be more effective because of the opposition that they have in their charts. But we're going to also look at other signs. The fire element is very strong, and so can have a lot of more or less positive effects. Could be a very, it's like an extreme year. We can say it's going to be an extreme year. So we can have extreme positive as well as maybe kind of like significantly not so positive. So also we're going to look at the house. You know, what are we going to do with the house? We know that the Kant triagram is going to be affecting the center, but our other areas going to be affected, and what to do to correct that or to make the best out of them. So I wanted to give you a heads up. If you have a floor plan for your unit, keep it handy. And then I'm going to explain you how to do the compass reading, and then we're going to look at that together. Or if you know how to do a compass reading, do a compass reading, preemptive compass reading, and then we're going to put down the direction. It's a 2-hour class, so I will not have as much time as I will have in our more extended certificate program classes to explain you everything in details. But I'll try to do my best so you can take best advantage of this course. Also, in preparation of that, I wanted to give you also a heads up. So if you feel like this is the right time for you to clean the house, maybe downsizing, maybe moving, these are all things that are actually really positive to do at this time. You might have a little bit of obstruction still because we are not quite done with 2025 yet. So even though the energy is getting a little bit lighter, you know, the month of November 2025 is going to be a little bit intense, but come December, things should start loosening up a little bit more. So if you feel like you want to make some important changes, this could be a good time to start planning for that. Also, anything that has to do with reorganizing the house and doing a lot of clean out and, you know, dispose of older things, broken things, things that you don't use anymore, make some room to bring in the good chi, the new chi from the new year. That's always a really positive things to do. And start, you know, making a list of things that you would like to do for the new year. The new year is gonna be more energetic than this year, so you might, and your list of goals, let's call them, might change come January. But you know, if you feel like you want to plan for the new year, this is actually a good thing. Also, I want to remind you that we're going to have an extended forecast on January 10. January 10, it's a Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific. It's online, so you're welcome to join us, and we will discuss more on how to make the best out of this really vibrant 2026 year of the Fire Horse. I'm looking forward to see you all there, and have a wonderful winter. I'm looking forward to that. Bye.